Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
A Sunday full of crime, as we hear from Don MacLaughlin and Mandel Kramer in Counterspy. Mandel Kramer returns as yours truly, Johnny Dollar. An episode of Suspense from 1961 as well. Dick Kollmar as Boston Blackie, and we'll wrap the whole thing up with our favorite soap opera, Claudia. And we thank you for joining us on this Sunday. This is the 26th day of November, almost out of the month. 333rd day of the year, 35 days remaining until we get to 2024. In 1778, Captain James Cook became the first European to visit the Hawaiian island of Maui. In 1789, a National Thanksgiving Day observed in the U.S. as recommended by President Washington and approved by Congress. University of Notre Dame founded on this date in 1842. National Hockey League formed on this date in 1917. In 1922, The Toll of the Sea debuted as the first general release film to use two-tone Technicolor. The gulf between the first film to do so, but it wasn't widely distributed. In 1941, President Roosevelt signed a bill establishing the fourth Thursday in November as Thanksgiving Day in the U.S. President Roosevelt ordered nationwide gas rationing on this date in 1942 to begin December 1st. Troops from the People's Republic of China launched a massive counterattack in North Korea against South Korean and American forces, ending any hope of a quick end to the conflict. Premiering on this date in 1956, an iconic game show debuted.
And now, your host on The Price is Right, Bill Collins. Yeah, hello. Thank you all and welcome. And good to have you here. It is our pleasure. And to you folks at home, hello and welcome to The Price is Right.
I know I get irritated at little things, but The Price is Right was one of them. Now, The Price is Right, one of the few game shows that survived the rigging scandal of the late 50s, gained even more popularity after other game shows were exposed for being rigged and canceled. Price is Right ended its run from 1956 to 1965. It was revived in 1972 in its current incarnation with iconic host Bob Barker and currently Drew Carey. My irritation is The Price is Right is not 50 years old or 51 years old, as the current lineage would like to say. It's 67 years old. It goes back to its initial show on this date. And to ignore the fact that they had such a wonderful run in the show and what could have been such a horrific time, it was really... You know, I have nothing bad to say about Drew Carey and nothing at all bad to say about Bob Barker. He was always a tremendous wit and a wonderful host. But to ignore that those years from 1956 until 1965 is to ignore one of the finest game show hosts ever in Bill Cullen. And if you look at Buzzer and see some of the stuff he's done, you'll just, he was a tremendous wit and an amazing, the only dumb thing he really did was smoke himself to death, and that was a horrible thing. And to survive his massive injuries over the years, to be able to, people didn't even know for a long time that he, between childhood illness and a car crash, that he could barely walk. Bill Cullen, an amazing, remarkable man, and yet he sailed and he flew in airplanes and all that, and he did a lot of life. Let's move on before I just rant too much. 1968, in the Vietnam War, Air Force helicopter pilot James P. Fleming rescued an Army Special Forces unit pinned down by Viet Cong fire. He was later awarded the Medal of Honor. In 1970, the beginning of the All-Volunteer Army.
Looking to the future, while this measure will remove a great number of the inequities and particularly remove the uncertainty to which I referred. We shall not be satisfied until we finally can have the system which I advocated during the campaign of a completely volunteer armed force. We cannot move to that now because of the requirements for our armed services. That is, however, our ultimate goal.
President Nixon, who ended the draft, made it a total voluntary military, and in some ways it's stronger, in other ways it's gotten very strange. But we salute those people who keep us safe. 1975, on this date, Squeaky Fromm found guilty of attempting to kill President Gerald Ford.
The jury of 8 women and 4 men has found Lynette Alice Fromm guilty of the primary charge of attempting to assassinate President Ford here in Sacramento on September 5th. Miss Fromm was not in the courtroom as the jury announced the verdict. She had been in a few minutes before, told the judge that she was not going to participate in the trial, but that she might have some statement to make to the judge later. The jury was polled by the defense. Each juror answered in a loud yes when asked if that verdict was the one they had found. Lynette Fromm guilty as charged.
Reporter Tom Schell. Fromm released from parole from Federal Medical Center Carswell on August 14th of 2009. In 1986, President Reagan announced the members of what would become known as the Tower Commission.
Looking to the future, I will appoint a special review board to conduct a comprehensive review of the role and procedures of the National Security Council staff in the conduct of foreign and national security policy. I anticipate receiving the reports from the Attorney General and the Special Review Board at the earliest possible date. Upon the completion of these reports, I will share their findings and conclusions with the Congress and the American people.
Audio from the Ronald Reagan Library, issued on February 26th of 1987. The Commission's report held Reagan accountable for a lax managerial style and aloofness from policy detail. It was on this date in 1990 the Delta II rocket made its maiden flight. 2000, George W. Bush certified the winner of Florida's electoral votes by Katherine Harris, going on to win in the presidential election despite losing in the national popular vote. Concorde made its final flight over Bristol, England on this date in 2003, and in 2011 the Mars Science Laboratory launched to Mars with the Curiosity rover. Passing away on this date in history, abolitionist Sojourner Truth, bandleader Tommy Dorsey, donut entrepreneur Vern Winchell, Winchell's Donuts, children's author Stanley Bearstein, and Trixie and the Honeymooners, Jane Keane.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
And among those who are no longer with us on this date, journalist, commentator Eric Seberide.
In the end, of course, it is not one's employers or colleagues that sustain one quite so much as the listening public when it be so minded. And I have found that it applies only one consistent test, not agreement with one on substance, but the perception of honesty and fair intent. There is in the American people a tough, undiminished instinct for what is fair. Rightly or wrongly, I have the feeling that I have passed that test. I shall wear this like a medal. Millions have listened intently and indifferently, in agreement and in powerful disagreement. Tens of thousands have written their thoughts to me. I will feel always that I stand in their midst. This was Eric Seberide in Washington. Thank you and goodbye.
Eric Seberide's final commentary on CBS, November 30th, 1977. Eric Seberide, born on this date in 1912. Also born on this date in history of note, the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, Bill Wilson, who didn't stay very anonymous, did he? The kidnapper of Charles Augustus Lindbergh, Bruno Hauptmann, cartoonist Charlie Schulz, who still regales us to this date, even though he passed 23 years ago. His Peanuts comic strip characters will live forever. Puppeteer Waylon Flowers, Tina Turner, who passed earlier this year, and a fine, fine singer, Robert Goulet.
If ever I would leave you, how could it be in springtime? knowing how in spring I'm bewitched by you so. Oh, no, not in springtime, summer, winter, or fall. No, never could I leave you.
Oh, from Camelot, Robert Goulet. Such a wonderful voice. You know, so many voices have left us over the years. One voice that remains with us, passing along all those voices, is the delightful gentleman, Rich Little. And I've had so many opportunities to interview him, and we've talked about so much to do with comedy and life and times. And yet so many voices still live on through this man to this day. Rich Little, Canadian by birth, and Las Vegan, living to this date, 85 years of age. The Supremes, Gene Terrell, is 79 today. Fleetwood Mac's John McVeigh is 78. Retired NASCAR racer, commentator Dale Jarrett, 67. From Fastlane and Supergirl, Peter Fasinelli, 50 years old. Natasha Bedingfield did so much great music. My favorite, I Bruise Easily. Natasha Bedingfield, 42. Businessman, co-founder of Facebook, Chris Hughes, is 40. And singer-actress Rita Ora is 33. Those are just a few of the people who celebrate the 26th day of November as their birthday. If this is your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say... Happy birthday to you!
Just a reminder and an invitation to come visit my webpage at classicradio.stream. That is classicradio.stream. You can stream all of our shows on demand there. Learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. And if you'd like to buy me a copy, you can do that like Robert and so many of you have. Robert and Sean and others. Thank you. And now... we remind you that up next, from 73 years ago, November 26, 1950, Mandel Kramer, Don MacLaughlin, in an episode of Phillips H. Lord's Counterspy. That's next on this Sunday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
This year, 32,300 people are doomed to death.
By Cornelius Happ, I never stopped to realize.
You know, Harlow, it takes 10 seconds and 336 feet to stop a car traveling at 60 miles an hour. That's why brains are more important than brakes. Why the man behind the wheel should beware of the speed at which he's driving. Why safe and sane are synonymous words to drivers who value their fellows' lives as well as their own.
In other words, Hap, just because Autolite resistor spark plugs give your car more pep, don't try to use all of it, eh?
Exactly, Harlow. But there's more. The Good Samaritan is the gracious guy or gal who not only knows and keeps the rules of the road, but also keeps his temper in his head when some bungling Benny gives him the road hog treatment.
Yes, Hap, it's sad but true that one right way to wrong driving is to always demand your highway rights. Be sure to be safe.
Right, Harlow.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we head back 73 years. November 26, 1950. Don MacLaughlin, Mandel Kramer in Phillips H. Lord's Counterspy.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Counterspy.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
United States Counterspy, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad.
These Counterspy reports to the American people are brought to you each week at this time. Now, the case of the Hideous Hijacker. would you care for a drink, Dillon?
Don't mind if I do, Mr. Shelby.
Myra, would you?
Scotch, isn't it, Dillon?
Yes.
Anything for you, Carl?
No, thank you, my dear.
That's a nice view of the ocean you have, Mr. Shelby. There's nothing like a California beach house, I always say.
Yeah. Right now, Dillon, I'm only interested in what you have to say about the business at hand.
Yes, I found your man.
You're sure that he can handle this sort of thing?
With the greatest of ease and experience.
Here's your drink, Dillon.
Thank you.
Who is this man?
His name is Roxy Madera.
Roxy Madera.
Sound familiar to you, Mr. Shelby?
Oh, he's the one who was released recently from the federal penitentiary?
He's the one. I was Roxy's attorney before the state relieved me of my practice.
Tell me, Dillon, is this man, this Roxy Madera, willing to take risks?
Risks that could cost lives, including his own.
Listen, a life to Roxy Madera is no more than a grain of sand. Well, Mr. Shelby, what do you say?
I say Roxy Madera is our man. Get him.
Gee, Roxy, you still dance as good as ever.
Sure, Billy. I'm a regular ballet star.
I missed you awful, honey.
Yeah?
Yeah, awful. Now it'll be like old times again.
Better. Give me a kiss.
Roxy.
Never mind the kiss. Answer the door.
Oh, Dillon.
Hi. You took your time getting here, Dillon.
Sorry, Roxy. Held up in traffic.
Okay, let's not waste time. Sit down. Billy, shut that phono off, huh?
Yeah, all right.
And go in the other room and powder your nose or something.
All right.
Okay, Dillon, what have you got?
Well, I spoke to that certain party.
Just the facts?
Yeah, all right. The shipments consist of antibiotics.
Anti-what?
Certain types of drugs, such as penicillin, sulfur, and aureomycin.
So?
These drugs are being shipped down the coast regularly by truck to certain warehouses in this area. From there, the drugs are distributed, some of them shipping overseas to military stations.
So you want some of the loads hijacked?
As many as possible.
Who for?
Why, I am not free to reveal names. The certain party will pay well for each load.
Like what?
Oh, $15,000.
Uh-huh. And your cut?
5.
Kind of greedy, ain't you, Dillon?
Oh, no, I don't think it's unfair, Roxy. After all, I went through a lot of trouble. I made the arrangements.
Okay, quit bleeding. When's the first job?
Tuesday night. Now, what about your crew?
I'm a one-man crew. I bring Billy along just for the kicks.
Well, that's all right. After we work out the details, I'll leave the rest to you, because I know the job will be done with your usual thoroughness.
That's right, Dillon. When Roxy Madera knocks off a hijack, it stays knocked off.
I'll be glad when this haul is over, Vic. I'm pooped.
Me too, Joe. What a way to make a living, huh?
There could be worse ways.
Give me a for instance.
I'm sorry you asked the question. Hey, Vic, up ahead.
Hey, there's a car blocking the road.
Guy's waving us down.
With a gun.
Better pull up, Vic.
Okay, you two, come on down.
What is this?
Down.
Hey, look, Mac, you can't pull a thing like this.
Joe!
Can't pull it, huh?
Roxy! Roxy, why did you do that?
That felt like it, Billy. This is the best way to operate. Any arguments?
No, Roxy. No arguments.
Agent Braden, Los Angeles Counterspy Field Office, to David Harding, Headquarters, Washington. A truckload of antibiotics was hijacked last night in this area. Both drivers murdered and bodies left on roadside. Truck missing. No further details. We'll keep you posted.
All right, you two guys. Like I told a friend, when Roxy Madera knocks off a hijack, it stays knocked off.
Agent Braden, Los Angeles to Harding headquarters. Report just received that third truckload of antibiotics has been hijacked. Pattern continues same. Both drivers murdered. Standing by for any special orders.
Harding, headquarters, Washington. To Agent Harry Peters, Philadelphia field office.
Peters, go ahead, Mr. Harding.
I'm leaving here immediately by jet. We'll pick you up at the airport there.
What's up, Chief?
We're flying out to Los Angeles. I'll lay out the details for you later.
Come on, Mr. Harding. Give out with the details, will you? You've had me second-guessing my head off.
We're going out to Los Angeles, Peters, to supervise a hijacking investigation.
Hijacking investigation? With all the big stuff going on these days, I'd have thought that would be a strictly lower echelon operation.
Not when there's a threat to national security.
Maybe I should keep my big mouth shut and listen. Go ahead, Chief.
Peters, you're familiar with the importance of antibiotic drugs.
I sure am. Penicillin did the job for me when I had that strep throat 2 years ago.
Well, in the past 2 weeks in the Los Angeles area, 3 truckloads of antibiotics were hijacked. In each case, the drivers were murdered.
Nothing to go on yet?
So far, nothing. Those drugs, Peters, were not only to be made available for civilian use, but a great portion was to be shipped to our armed forces overseas. And I don't doubt some of those hijacked drugs will find their way overseas.
I don't follow.
We've been receiving reports from our agents in the Asian sector that American antibiotic drugs have been smuggled behind the Iron Curtain.
Oh? Which means that in case of an emergency, we could be short on such supplies, and they could be well stocked.
It could mean that.
We've got a big job in front of us, Chief.
Big is right, Peters. Every minute counts.
For every minute he keeps me waiting, Billy, so help me, Dillon is going to pay.
He'll be here, Roxy.
Give me a cigarette.
Sure. Here.
So light it.
Here. Awful dark here, Roxy.
Ain't so dark I can't count. Car's coming up the road.
I hope it's Dillon.
It better be.
That you, Roxy?
Yeah, it's me, Roxy.
I'm sorry I kept you waiting. I got caught
In traffic, yeah, I know. Make with a payoff, Dillon.
With pleasure, my friend. Here you are. For the 3 jobs. It's all there.
Minus the withholding tax.
What? Oh, you mean my little cut?
Don't get cute.
No, I only...
Come on, Roxy. You got the money. Let's get
Keep
back
your
to...
halter on. I got something to say to the middleman here.
Well, what's on your mind?
You. I don't like a middleman. A middleman's a leech.
Oh, look.
Look, middleman. Now I know who that certain party is on the other end of the deal.
You know?
Carl Shelby. He's the guy who's paying off, right?
How'd you find out?
I trailed you one night to Shelby's beach shack down in Palos Verdes. I'm the kind of a guy who doesn't like to do business with a guy I don't know.
Oh, you'd like to meet Shelby, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, that's all right, Roxy. I'll take you to Shelby.
Now you will. I'll go there myself. I don't need a middleman to introduce me to Carl Shelby.
All right, Braden. Thanks. Peters.
Yes, Mr. Harding.
Come in here, will you?
What is it, Chief?
Agent Braden just called in.
Did
Peters, looks as if we've got our first real break in the case.
They located the trucks?
No. The body of a man named George Dillon was found by the state police a few hours ago in the outskirts of town.
George Dillon. What's his background?
A disbarred lawyer. Now, here's the tie-in Braden came up with. Dillon once represented Roxy Madeira, and according to our records, Madeira was released from prison 6 months ago after serving a term for interstate hijacking.
So you figure that Madeira's in on this case, hmm?
Yes. Braden also found out that Dillon and Madeira were seen together recently.
And Madeira should have some interesting answers to our questions.
Yes, he should. But Braden reports no trace of Madeira.
Oh?
So, Peters, I want a pickup bulletin for Madeira sent to all our field officers.
Get right on.
Wait a minute, Peters.
Yeah.
One more thing. Until further notice, I want an armed guard placed on every truck in the Pacific Coast area carrying antibiotics. Maybe playing both ends against the middle will work out for us.
Now, don't tell me, Shelby, you miss your middleman.
Well, not for personal reasons, Roxy. But you've endangered my entire operation by murdering Dillon.
Like those waves out there, it'll blow over.
Maybe you didn't hear me before. The counterspies are looking for you.
So let them look. They won't find me here. I don't get in your way, do I, Myra?
Of course not. I find you stimulating company.
See, Shelby? I ain't in anybody's way.
Roxy, I think it would be best for all concerned if you were to take a trip south. Say to Mexico.
Who asked you to do any thinking for me? If I want to take a powder to Mexico, I will. If I want to stay here, I will. Just don't lay out any cook's tour for me.
I'm going into my office now. There's some business that I have to take care of.
Oh, who's holding you here?
Myra, would you care to go with me?
I've got a terrible headache, Carl. Really.
Very well.
Aspirin's good for a headache, Myra.
Really?
Yeah? But I got something even better. Come here. See what I mean?
You don't waste time, do you?
Do you?
What do you think? I'd like a drink.
So?
No ice in the bucket. You'll find some in the kitchen.
I'm used to Billy getting the ice.
Well, now you'll have to get used to my ways.
Okay.
Yes?
I want to see Roxy.
Oh, Billy, I believe is your name.
That's my name, Blackie.
Well, I won't ask you in. You already are.
Where's Roxy? Don't lie. And why didn't he call me in 3 days?
Why don't you ask him?
I'll make this easy for you to understand. Simple.
I'm sure anything you have to say will be simple.
Stay away from Roxy.
And if I don't...
I'll beat you up so hard you'll look like cake batter.
Well, you make your point rather colorfully.
Yes, well, don't make me prove it.
It seems to me that Roxy's become bored with you of his own free will. And to know you is to understand why.
Why, you... I'll give you something to understand.
Well, it'll take more than you.
Ow, my hair!
Black roots, I'll bet.
Let go!
Come on, break it up.
I'll kill her, so help her.
Break it up, I said. There's feathers all over the
Let me go, Roxy, let me go.
Sit down, Billy. Stay there if you don't want me to bust you in the face. Sorry, Myra. This one's got no manners.
Roxy, you're a rat, a no-good two-timing rat.
Hey, no manners. Doesn't even know how to talk in front of a lady. I told you to stay in that chair.
You don't have to worry. I'm not going to touch your lady. I had an idea why you didn't call. I had the right idea. You're going to be sorry, Roxy. Real sorry.
I'll have that drink now, Roxy.
As soon as I get back.
Where are you going?
There's no telling what a jealous dame will do. I didn't like the way she said I was going to be sorry. I didn't like it at all.
May I help you? Operator. Get me the Counterspy field office in Los Angeles.
Counterspy field office in Los Angeles. One moment, please.
Roxy!
You are listening to the case of the Hideous Hijacker on Counterspy. There's top listening every Sunday evening with the Chimes. Tonight, the Big Show brings you another great array of stars. Lola Bankhead, Ed Wynn, Fred Allen, Ed Gardner, Jack Carson, and a host of others. Also this evening, Theater Guild on the Air presents another outstanding story. It's Theater by Somerset Maugham, and starring will be Gloria Swanson and Melvin Douglas. Now, back to Counterspy.
Harding, Control Car S1 to Field Office, Los Angeles.
Agent Braden, Los Angeles Field Office.
Braden, what about the report on those bullets?
Just checked with ballistics, sir. They'll have it any second. Anything turn up at your end?
Well, Peters is still in the tavern inquiring. Call me as soon as you have that report.
Will do.
How'd you make out, Peters?
Batting average 1,000, Chief.
Yeah?
3 out of 3 people in that tavern identified Billy Horton as Roxy Madera's girlfriend.
All right, Johnson, back to the field office.
Too bad Billy didn't live to finish that phone call to us. Any reports come in while you were waiting for me?
Well, I've been in touch with Braden. The lab check made on dust particles in Billy Horton's clothes indicate a corrosive action of sea air for a period of weeks.
It means she's been around the Bay Area for some time up to her death. And it also pins down the whereabouts of Roxy Madera.
Providing they hadn't split up.
Braden to Harding. Braden to Harding.
Harding, go ahead, Braden.
Ballistics just finished the report, Chief. The bullets which killed Billy Horton were fired from the same gun that murdered George Dillon.
Chief, that's proof enough that Roxy and Billy hadn't split up.
Braden.
Yes, sir?
Send out a special alert. Have all our patrols in this area concentrate the search for Roxy Madera in the Bay and Beach territory. I want Madera brought in, preferably more alive than dead.
And now, Roxy, we've reached a point where you're no longer visiting. You've simply moved in.
You wouldn't want me picked up, would you, Shelby?
Well, you'd be much safer in Mexico. I've offered to finance the trip.
But, Carl, it's not like you to be this inhospitable.
Inhospitable. Myra, do you realize that he intends to remain with us from now on?
And now you're losing your poise.
In a minute, he's going to lose some of his teeth. Shelby, I'm staying here just as long as I want to stay, so get used to it.
And you, Myra, am I to understand this arrangement suits you?
Well, I can't really say it doesn't suit me. Sorry.
You ungrateful little... You animal.
Get up, Shelby. The conversation's over. Get out and take a walk for yourself. The sea air will do you good. Hey, get a message to meet you here, Mr. Shelby.
Get in the car, Sid.
Al said you had a special job you went on.
Very special. You know Roxy Madera?
Yeah, I know Roxy. He the job?
Yes. It's my wish to rid myself of Madera permanently. I'll pay you the usual price, $1,000.
Gee, I don't know, Mr. Shelby. Roxy's an awful tough customer.
Well, very well, then. $1,500.
When?
Tonight. After 10 o'clock.
Where?
You'll find him down at my beach house.
Your beach house tonight after 10.
Yeah. I'll be waiting at my office in the cannery. As soon as you're finished, come there and I'll pay you. And the quicker the better.
I'll make Roxy Madera a real quick job for you, Mr. Shelby. I'll be back for the payoff at 11.
What time is it, Myra?
2 minutes to 11, Carl. Now, why do you keep asking the time?
You'll find that out in a moment.
Now, why'd you call me to come here to your office at this time of the night?
You'll find that out in a moment, too.
You're acting very peculiar.
Am I? As you know, since Roxy Madera intruded upon my hospitality, I haven't been myself. And neither have you.
Are we going into that again?
Oh, you needn't be so annoyed, my dear. I shan't bother to talk to you about Roxy again. The problem has already been solved.
What do you mean?
The answer to that question is at the door. Come in, Sid.
Sid couldn't make it, Shelby.
Roxy.
Roxy, what are you doing here?
Tell her, Shelby.
I...
Shelby's got his tongue tied on account of he thinks he's seeing a ghost. He had me fingered for a knockoff.
What?
Your boy Sid is in the cellar of your house, Shelby, with a head full of holes.
Roxy,
Shut up. Figured you'd try a stunt like that. It was all ready and waiting with his gun.
No, Roxy. No, please, wait.
Shelby, on the way up here, I was thinking what I should do about you. I could knock you off, but that'd be too easy for you. One slug and it's all over. So I figured I'd give it to you the hard way. Come on, Myra, baby, let's go. See what I mean, Shelby?
I got the message you wanted to see me here in the lab, Mr. Harding. Something special up?
Yes, very. One of our agents in Hong Kong came into possession of a parcel of American-made Oreomycin. It was scheduled for transshipment to Manchuria.
Huh?
There's the package on the lab table. It was flown back to us by special plane.
And a lab test proves what?
Well, see for yourself, Peter. First, look into this spectroscope here.
Metallic presence.
Specifically, zinc. That zinc was clinging almost imperceptibly to the cardboard container.
And the drug container was smuggled out in a tin, or rather a zinc receptacle.
Yes. Now take a look at this other spectrograph.
I can't make it out. What is it, Chief?
The lab technician tells me it's fish.
Fish?
Yes. And I think it's going to be the means for us to catch our own fish. Put an end to this case. Harding, Control Car S1 to all raid squads. Take your designated positions. We're going in now. Come on, Peter.
Right. That cannery, Chief. I never figured it this way.
We'll go in through this door. Keep me covered.
Right.
There's a light in the office down there. Come on, let's go. Ready?
Whatever you say.
Now.
All right, stand where you are. Oh, there's no need for surprise, gentlemen. I was half expecting you.
Stand up and get away from that desk.
All right. Anything you say.
Carl Shelby?
Yes, that's my name.
You're under arrest by the United States government for espionage and complicity in murder.
I had nothing to do with the murders.
That remains to be proven.
We know Roxy Madera is mixed up in this with you. Where is he?
It'll be a pleasure for me to tell you where Roxy is at this moment. Exactly where he is.
I'm afraid, Roxy, you've permanently destroyed Carl Shelby's equilibrium.
I told you to forget about Shelby, didn't I, Myra? Concentrate on me.
It's difficult not to. You know that.
Sure.
But I can't help wondering about Carl. He won't take kindly to orders.
He'll take orders from me, or he'll take what Dylan and Billy got. Anyway, who needs Shelby now? You got the names of his contacts overseas. I'll deal with them direct.
Roxy. Roxy Madera, who takes what he wants when he wants it.
What about you?
We're alike, Roxy. We're the people who take.
There's another way?
None. We'll go a long ways together, Roxy, you and I.
That's right, Myra. No stopping us.
Who could that be? Carl has a key. He never rings.
Answer it, but don't open the door. Go ahead.
Yes, who is it?
Counterspy.
Counter.
Open up. We know you're in there, Madera. Come out with your hands up.
Roxy, What are we going to do?
Get away from that door. Here's what I'm gonna do. Try that for size, coppers.
The house is surrounded, Roxy. You haven't got a chance.
Chance, huh? Come on, Myra.
Where?
We'll make it out the side door and up the stairs to the road.
No, Roxy, we'll be killed.
Come on, I said.
Roxy, please don't let me go with you.
I thought you said you were my
I
kind.
don't want to die, please, Roxy.
Shut up, shut
no.
up. Go ahead, open the door.
They'll kill me.
Open it.
Drop your gun and come out, Roxy.
Okay, Myra, I'm going out there, but I'm going my way. Come here.
No, what are you
Get
doing?
in front of me. That's the way I'm going out.
Shoot me first.
Cops are too polite to shoot a lady. Open that door.
Please, Roxy.
Open it. I'm coming out, coppers. You shoot and this dame gets it from me. Get going, Myra. Keep moving fast.
You can't get away with it, Roxy.
You open up and the dame gets it like I said. Keep moving, Myra. Go on over to the stairs. Faster. Up the steps.
I'm behind you, Roxy. Drop your gun.
Out of my way, Myra. I'm making it alone.
Get it, Peters.
I'll get you, coppers. I'll get you all.
Well, Peters, that's the end of our trail and the end of Roxy Madera. Let's go.
Tune in every week, same time, same station, to Counterspy. Listen next week for the exciting Case of the Prattling Paper.
When enemy agents thought they had silenced one of America's top research men by murder, they didn't know that his research had made paper talk like a black streak. How your counterspies gave this black streak a voice will be revealed for the first time next week in
The Case of the Prattling Paper on Counterspy. Tonight's Counterspy program originated in New York, was directed by Marks B. Loeb, dramatized by Edward J. Adamson, and featured Don MacLaughlin and Mandel Kramer. Lionel Rico speaking. Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production.
"73 years ago, November 26, 1950, Counterspy. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
For almost 2 centuries, Americans have enjoyed the valuable privileges of freedom. Now, freedom needs each American to dedicate himself to its preservation. We must not allow our liberties to be endangered by neglect of our duties as citizens. During this year of rededication, join with your fellow Americans in reaffirming the principles on which this country is founded and the safeguarding of those principles. Make it your business to see that federal, state, and local governments are conducted honestly. Help to maintain the good morale of your sons and daughters in the armed forces. Learn the facts about all candidates and issues. Then vote for the one you believe in. Make the most of every minute on your job. Produce as much as you can, and thus increase our military and economic strength. Work for better schools and a better community. Guard your American heritage of freedom. It needs you.
And we look ahead to Monday's program, where we're going to have more crime and some westerns with Casey Crime Photographer, an episode of The Whistler. We'll hear from Gunsmoke, and Have Gun Will Travel, along with another edition of Claudia, where Claudia and the family has their Thanksgiving dinner. That's coming up on our Monday edition of the program. But right now, let's continue. We just heard Mandel Kramer as Harry Peters in Counterspy. But right now we're going to hear Mandel Kramer as Johnny Dollar. An episode of yours truly, Johnny Dollar, from, just about their last season. This was originally broadcast on November 26, 1961, 62 years ago, and this is the Mad Bomber Matter.
Johnny Dollar.
Dollar, my name is Parnell. Hank Parnell. I live out here in Muddy Gap, Wyoming.
Mr. Parnell.
Yeah, just call me Hank.
All right, Hank. And what did you say the name of your city is?
City? Why, it's only a little town, Dollar. Muddy Gap, Wyoming.
Muddy what?
Well, just what it sounds like. Muddy Gap. Muddy Gap.
I see.
Yeah, due west of Casper, south of Powder River. It's not too far from where the Poison Spider Creek begins. You look it up on a map, and, well, here we are.
All right, I'll look it up. But what seems to be your problem, Hank?
Oh, Dollar, I'm the owner and editor and reporter and, well, just about everything else in Muddy Gap Weekly Tribune.
Yes?
I'm also the only agent for at least 50 miles around here for the Great Southwest Insurance Company.
Oh, I see.
Yes, sir. Now, I wonder if you could hightail yourself out here in one big fat hurry.
Well, that,
And that means on that little old expense account of yours. Can you do it?
Well, that depends. You are talking about insurance business now, aren't you?
Well, not yet, Dollar, but, well, put it this way.
Yeah?
Unless you can give us a hand, Great Southwest is plumb liable not to have any office or agent or anything else out here anymore.
Afraid I don't understand.
Well, then let's put it this way.
Yes?
What I want you out here for is to keep the town of Muddy Gap from getting itself blowed right clean off the map. Well, sir?
Well, sir, I'll be out to see you.
The CBS Radio Network brings you Mandel Kramer in the exciting adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to the Greater Southwest Insurance Company branch office in the town with the unlikely name of Muddy Gap, Wyoming. Following is an account of expenses incurred during my investigation of the Mad Bomber Matter. Expense account item 1. $192.80 transportation by plane, train, and car to Muddy Gap. That includes a stop and bite of late supper at Casper, Wyoming, where I picked up a rental car. Muddy Gap is in the middle of thousands of acres of range land for beef cattle in what used to be Indian country, where the Sioux and Cheyenne carried out many a bloody raid against wagon trains plodding along the old Oregon Trail. There's oil in this country, too. Muddy Gap consisted of a railroad siding, one main shopping street, and a surprisingly neat residential section, all of it pretty much surrounded by a tank farm. How many millions of gallons of crude oil were stored in those huge steel tanks, I'll never know. But it must have taken a mighty big pipeline to handle it. It was obvious that oil storage was the town's principal business. The combination insurance and newspaper office sat alone at the end of the street, and despite the late hour, Hank Parnell was there waiting for me. He was a long, lanky, not too bright character, dressed in jeans, an open shirt, cowboy boots, and the inevitable white Stetson. Instead of a horse tied up out front, he had a battered old touring car, minus the top and covered with oily dust, to get out and around and dig up news items for his paper, he said.
Oh, and I guess I forgot to tell you, Dollar, I'm also mayor of this town, a sort of city clerk.
And dog catcher as well, Hank?
Well, now, you know something? If we had enough headed dogs around here to worry about, I'd probably be that, too. Oh, and I'm also sort of acting police chief while Rafe Tucker's down to see his relations down in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So, you see, I got plenty of reason to be worried about this nice little town of ours.
Worried about what, exactly?
You notice all them big oil tanks all around out there?
Oh, you sure got a lot of them.
Yes, sir. You imagine what would happen if one of them, just even one of them, was to maybe explode? Dollar, there'd be just one long, continuous boom, and Muddy Gap wouldn't be no more. And maybe nearly 300 nice, fine people either be dead or, at the very least, homeless.
Well, do you think something like that might happen, Hank?
Unless you can somehow stop it, Dollar. Or rather, I mean stop him.
Who?
Billy Benbow's his name. Born and brought up right here in Muddy Gap.
Yeah?
A real bad boy. Always in trouble. Been a little older, he'd spend most of his time in the jail.
Mm-hmm.
So when the last war came along, my father, he run this paper then. He got an idea for ridding us of Billy. Yeah, so we wrote a couple of editorials or two to sort of pass on that idea. First thing you know, the draft board kind of caught on. The first thing he knew, Billy Boy was in the Army.
Well, I'd say that was a pretty smart idea, huh?
Yes, sir. Except that when Billy realized how he'd been kind of, railroaded into the service, he swore loud and long as to how he'd come back here someday and get even with this town.
Well, I don't see why. What's wrong with the Army?
Oh, not a thing, not a thing. It was just the way he got put there that rankled him.
I see.
Anyhow, all the time he was on the other side, they had him working on explosives. He got to be a real expert. Every time he'd set off a charge, to blow up a railroad or a bridge or whatever, he'd say, now, that's for so-and-so. Bahoom. And this one's for so-and-so. Bahoom. And every time he'd name somebody here in this town, starting, of course, with the draft board.
It became a real obsession with him.
Oh, it was more than that. It was like a mania. Yeah, Billy Benhow simply wouldn't forget.
Now, surely, Hank, after all this time...
Now, wait a minute, Dollar.
All right, go ahead.
Whether it was all the damage and destruction he was doing or whatever it was, I'm not sure. But, Dollar, there at the end of the war, well, maybe it was shell shock or battle fatigue or whatever they want to call it, Billy went completely off base.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. The first thing he did when he set foot back in this country, back there on the East Coast, was to start blowing things up. So, of course, he ended up in one of them state hospitals back there and never recovered. No, never got over it.
Well, if he's in the hospital, Hank...
Well, he was. But then a while back, he escaped. You see what I mean?
You think he'll be coming here to carry out his old threat?
Well, Dollar, a couple of days ago, I got a phone call right here in this office.
Yes?
All the voice said to me was, I haven't forgotten. And he hung up.
The voice of Billy Benbow?
Well, who else? Who else could it have been?
I wonder.
Well, I don't. It was Billy, all right. It had to be. And what he meant was, in his twisted way, Billy meant he's coming back here to get even.
Well, now, Hank...
Well, who knows? Maybe Billy's right here in town right now, hiding out somewheres, just waiting for a chance to blow us all to kingdom come. And don't you forget for 1 minute, Dollar, he was an expert with them explosives.
But, Hank, if it was this Benbow, why would he make a point of warning you?
Well, Dollar, man with a mind like that, I don't...
Well, you may be right. Tell me, have you mentioned this in your paper? Have you notified the townspeople?
What, and got them all up into a panic? No, sir. But somehow, Dollar, we gotta stop him.
All right. Now, listen,
Yeah?
I take it you haven't much of a police force here?
Well, we never needed much of a force in a peaceful little town like this.
Well, how about the county or state police or whoever's available?
Oh, sure.
What?
Oh, they'd be glad to help. Come right over here and help us all they can. When and if Billy tries something.
Well, by then it might be too late.
Yes, sir. Because every day now, once a day, along about this time, this phone of mine is rung. And when I answered, there wasn't nobody there. So it's Billy, wherever he is, just adding up to that warning he gave me.
Possibly.
So, well, you got any ideas, Dollar?
Well, to be perfectly honest about it, Hank, before I believe that after all these years Billy would actually come back here, I think I'd like a little more convincing evidence.
Evidence? Well, what's he got to do to convince you? You mean to say you won't believe it until he... Oh, no. There it is again.
Well, maybe it's one of your subscribers.
You pick up that extension. Same time as I pick up this.
All right, if you like. Okay?
Yeah, now. Hello? Hello?
I think I'd better prove that I haven't forgotten.
Billy? Is that you, Billy?
That's right. Billy Benbow.
Now listen, Billy. Hello? Hello?
He's hung up, I'm afraid.
Now, you see now, Dollar? I told you he wasn't fooling. I told you that... Listen. What was that?
I don't know. It sounded like it came from somewhere just outside of this building.
Remember how much racket automobiles used to make? Time was you practically had to bellow to make yourself heard above the chatter and roar of the engine, the howl of the wind rushing by, and the rattling a rough road gave your poor old buggy and brains. Nowadays, with vastly improved automotive engineering and magnificent new superhighways, you literally purr along the road. This is a vast improvement, but one that can offer danger if you're not alert. You're sitting behind the wheel with the miles of highway unrolling smoothly beneath you. Suddenly a sharp curve jumps in front of you, and you find that you have to use all the skill of a professional racer to navigate that curve without getting into real big trouble. Your car was so quiet that your speed had crept up stealthily during those long miles of straightaway. You were burning along without realizing it. The point here, a simple one, is this. Your speedometer was put there for a purpose you can't afford to forget. Keep alert, take care, and get there.
The next thing I remember was crawling out from under Hank's desk. Hank himself had tried to make a dash for the press room, but was forced back by the blast and ended up beside me. As for the press room, it was a shambles.
Oh, my. Why here, Dollar? Why in here? Why'd he pick to blow up my press this way?
Hank, didn't you say it was your father's idea? That way of getting him out of town?
Yeah, you're right. And he spread the word by putting the stuff in the paper.
All right, then maybe this is all he wants to do, put your paper out of business.
Yeah, maybe so, Dollar. I hope so. But he's still got to be caught and locked up again.
Yes, but where do we start looking for him?
Well, he was here to set off this here bomb, wasn't he?
Only seconds after you talked to him on the phone?
Oh, yeah, you're right. If he was somewheres on the telephone, there's no other buildings nearby. How could he be around here, too?
Wait a minute. Look. Looks like this is the answer right here.
Why, that's a clockwork.
That's right. A little timing device. That means, Hank, that he could have been 100 miles away.
What is it, Hank? What's happened around here? Sound like a big explosion.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, looks like one, too.
Yep, it was all right, Pete.
What happened? Hey, smells to me like dynamite in here.
Dynamite? What's the matter with your smeller, boy?
What?
It was just that big can of benzene I had for cleaning up the tab I used on the paper.
It was, huh?
Yeah, that's what it was. I had the dang thing up a little too close to the heater, and it blew up, that's all.
Boy, sure funny it didn't start a fire then, Hank.
What do you mean, funny? We were lucky, that's all.
I guess you were. I'll tell you this, though, Hank.
Just don't bother right now. It was only the can of benzene.
No, I mean about you saying there wouldn't ever be any excitement around here when I took on this job.
Oh, yeah. It looks like I was wrong.
What is your job, Pete?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should introduce you to. This is Pete
Branson, huh?
Oh, yeah. Him and Tony Batten are the rest of the police force here in Muddy Gap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, glad to meet you. What'd you say your name is?
Johnny Dollar. But now listen, you hear the hoax out there?
Yeah, Tony's out there, too.
Well, you and him just keep that mob out of here, will you? Tell them everything's okay. It was just that can of benzene, like I said.
Sure, Hank.
Now, go on now. You and Tony keep that mob out of here.
Okay. It's okay, folks. Just had a little accident back there in the print shop. Everything's under control. But just to make sure, Hank don't want anybody hanging around.
Pete
Now,
Branson?
come on, Tony. Let's get him all away from here. Come on.
What happened to him, Hank?
What, you mean his face? The way it's all cut up that way?
Yeah.
Well, it tells me he once got drugged behind a horse. You know, foot caught in a stirrup.
Oh, I see.
So the one thing he won't ever do anymore is get himself on top of a horse. Me, I don't blame him.
Hank, that excuse that you gave for the explosion.
Oh, you think I should have told him the truth and let him spread the word and get the whole town into a panic?
Well, if we were sure there won't be any more of them, that Billy's satisfied his yen for revenge by putting your paper out of business, okay, but if your fellow townspeople are still in danger... And didn't you mention the draft board? Who are they?
Oh, they're all long gone, Dollar, except for old Grandpa Whedon. Oh, Lord.
Well?
Oh, Lord, that old house of his, it's right over near the terminal end of one of them pipelines off the tank farm, and if that place were to get blowed up, and if one of the tanks were to go, why, there'd be nothing left of this town.
Then if Billy is still around...
Well, how can we know?
Wait a minute, telephone.
What?
It's the old-fashioned kind. It's no dial, which means you have to call an operator.
Well, sure,
Which also means that the operator has to call you. Come on, Hank.
What are you going to do?
We're going to find out where that... Here now. Hello?
Hank Parnell, whatever happened down there at your newspaper office?
Listen, operator.
Whatever you had blow up over there fairly shook me out of my chair. I haven't had such an explosion here in Muddy Gap since Allie Briscoe's still blew up and everybody thought the whole tank farm was gone.
Look, miss.
Look, Hank, you better tell me what happened so I can... Well, I mean, you know, in case somebody calls in and wants to know.
Operator,
Well,
will you listen to me a moment?
what? Well, who are you?
I'm speaking for Hank Parnell.
Well, anything happened to him? Is he all right?
No, he's all right. Now, listen.
Yes?
Just before the accident, you rang this phone.
Well, that's right. I had a call for him.
Do you know who was calling?
No, he kept his voice low. What'd you say your name is?
Well, I didn't, and it doesn't matter. But what I want to know is, where did...
You know something?
Hmm?
You sound exactly like that Johnny Doll on the radio.
Operator, listen, please.
If you are and you're in town...
Miss...
Well, the folks around here would sure like to know that, they would.
Now, listen, do you know where that call for Hank Parnell came from?
Well, of course I do.
Where?
Well, the one outside phone booth we have over outside the drugstore.
Okay, thanks. You heard?
Yeah, Dollar. Then he is in town.
I'm afraid so. Hank, you better take it.
Okay.
I'll listen in.
Hello?
You got the sample, Parnell. The big one's coming later.
Billy.
That's right.
Later when? What do you mean by later?
Maybe tonight.
Billy, listen. Hello? Dollar, we gotta get the people out of this town.
300 of them before he can strike again?
I don't know, but we gotta try.
It's too late, and you know it.
Well, then what can we do? Dollar?
It's a long chance, Hank. I know it is.
What?
But I'm betting that he's been around this town a long time, maybe for weeks. Now, doesn't that mean anything to you?
Well, I don't get it.
All right, listen. Now, this crazy hunch of mine may be all wrong, but if you'll let me handle this my own way... Will you, Hank? In spite of the fact that it may mean jeopardizing all the people in town.
Anything you say, Dollar, as long as we do something.
All right. Those two boys on the force. Do you know where to reach them right now?
Who, Tony and Pete?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Call them up and have them come over here. Then if you and they will follow my orders to the letter and without question... Well?
We'll do anything.
Okay. Get them over here. It meant staking a lot on my limited knowledge of the criminal mind, possibly risking a lot of innocent lives. But I felt sure now that my hunch was right. Fortunately for my plan, Tony Batten got there first. When I told Hank and Tony what their job was, for a moment they couldn't believe I was serious. But they agreed to say nothing to anyone, not even to Pete. Tony went outside, then waited in Hank's old car. When Peter Branson arrived, Hank put him under my orders, and he and Tony took off.
Well, I guess I was right, huh, Mr. Dollar? That was some kind of set explosion in here, wasn't it?
That's right, Pete. It was set all right by an expert.
And you got some idea who might have done it?
Either you and I are going to find out or this town's in danger of being blown to bits.
Are you kidding?
Not a bit of it. I see you carry a gun.
Yes, sir, right here in handy. And if what you say is true, maybe you ought to have one, too.
Well, you better let me have yours then, Pete.
Well, now, wait a minute, Mr. Dollar.
It's your idea.
Well, yeah, I know, but...
Well, let me have it. Orders, Pete. You're under my orders, remember?
Yes, sir. All right. Yes, sir, here you are.
Good. Now, shall we go?
Where are we headed?
Out to see an old man. Old Grandpa Whedon.
Oh, now, you don't think he had anything to do with this explosion, do you?
Pete, I think this mad bomber plans to hit him next.
Did you say mad?
That's right.
Oh, I see.
We're going to go over Grandpa's place with a fine-tooth comb because a bomb may be planted, may be ticking away out there right now.
And if we don't find anything out there?
Well, we'll see.
But why do you think this man would pick on him?
Is it a man?
Well, I certainly guess so. But why on Grandpa?
Well, because once he was a member of a draft board.
Well, now, that don't make sense, does it?
Maybe not, but does anything make sense where a madman is concerned?
You're calling him mad again.
You don't like that word, hmm?
Well, it makes no difference to me, but if there was a madman out on the loose out there...
Pete, he might look every bit as harmless as you do, or as I do.
Yeah, I see. Okay, then. Let's go on out there and have a look, but I'm betting we don't find anything.
You don't think so, hmm?
Well, I bet on it.
Well, then maybe we won't. It seems to me Hank had a little trouble remembering your last name, Pete. How long is it that you've been on the force?
Huh? Oh, a few weeks, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Ever since you first came to town, huh?
Why, yeah, practically.
And before that?
Oh, you know, working around the ranches and...
Oh, I thought you didn't ride.
Well, no, not anymore.
Oh, what do you do then?
Oh, you know, odd jobs. Well, why you ask that?
Well, your hands. They look kind of soft to me, you know? Another thing, come to think of it, seems to me you immediately recognized the smell of dynamite when you came in here. Didn't you?
Oh, look, you want to go out there, let's go.
And, those scars on your face?
What you getting at?
They're from an explosion, aren't they?
I said, what you getting at?
I've seen too many of those kind of scars not to recognize them. And you knew that because of them, nobody around here would recognize you. Didn't you, Billy?
Okay, Dollar, that's enough. You see this?
You got another gun?
That's right. So instead of reaching for the one I gave you, just you reach up high. Now reach. I knew I'd have trouble when you come in town. 'Cause you ain't dumb like the rest of these jerks around here. But not anymore, Dollar, because I'm gonna kill you.
You think so, Billy?
Yeah. And then I go back to my place and I get the rig. It's all ready except for the setting of the clock on.
Billy?
Shut up. You know where I plant it then? Yeah, out by old Grandpa Whedon. You hear me? Out there by the tank farm. And I set the clock, so I only got time to get away. Get away in that nice car of yours, Dollar.
Now, Billy, listen to me.
No. You're only trying to stall me. So first it's you, and then I go get that rig. This rig, Billy? Huh? This bomb we found over in your room? You found it? You better drop that gun, Billy. No! Come in! Oh, you pull that trigger, Tony, I still get off a shot.
He's right. Let me take care of this.
Wowee. That's a mighty good left you got there, Dollar.
I guess he was right, though, Hank, about you being pretty stupid.
Well, now, you just wait.
Didn't you think about what might have happened if Tony'd pulled off a shot right next to that bomb you have in your hand?
Oh, my gosh.
You should have. Remarks? Why bother on this one? As for the expense account, let's call it a total of $350. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Now, here is our star to tell you about next week's story.
Next week, a beautiful girl, a handful of coins, and a mysterious disappearance. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, is written by Jack Johnstone, produced and directed by Bruno Zerato Jr., music supervision by Ethel Huber. Johnny Dollar is played by Mandel Kramer. Also featured in our cast were Court Benson as Hank Parnell, Lawson Zerby as Pete Branson, Cliff Carpenter as Billy Benbow, and Barbara Cassar as the operator. Be sure to join us next week, same time, same station, for another exciting story of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Art Hanna speaking. The #1 network for news, expanded CBS News on the CBS Radio Network.
This is WROW Music in Albany, New York.
A newcomer in town can feel mighty lonesome. Welcome Wagon hostesses make these newcomers feel wanted when they make their cordial Welcome Wagon visits. Their baskets contain useful gifts from civic-minded businessmen, invitations to participate in varied social and volunteer activities of the many civic agencies in the community. In addition, every Welcome Wagon call recipient in the greater Albany or Schenectady areas, as well as Delmar, Latham, or Scotia, is invited to attend the local Welcome Wagon Club. This is an organization of newcomers all anxious to make friends. Various Welcome Wagon clubs vary from 30 to 150 members who meet monthly. Their interests include bowling, golf, cards, handcraft, and dancing. You can help to make your new neighbor feel at home. Call State 59640 today and make your neighbor eligible for the many opportunities in a Welcome Wagon Club. Remember, State 59640.
Another one of those great WROW air checks from November 26, 1961. Mandel Kramer as yours truly, Johnny Dollar. We'll hear another episode from that same date, probably also from WROW. 62 years ago, November 26, 1961. Suspense on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
My true love's many faces, many places you see. The city, the country, the sea. Wherever my true love may take it to be. Now zip code will find her for me. Wherever my true love may take it to be. Now zip code will find her for me. Oh, zip code, please find her for me.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, now to November 26, 1961, 62 years ago. Another episode of radio's outstanding theater of thrills.
And now, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense. A construction gang boss is suspected of murder. He suspects his own sanity. Listen now to Man-Trap, starring Don MacLaughlin, and written especially for Suspense by John Robert.
We were in the Southwest, a construction gang building a highway, dynamiting through mountains of rock that rose 2,000 feet. I was gang boss. My name is Brick Delaney. Next in command was Artie Finch. We'd been on a lot of jobs together, Artie and I. We could have been friends, but Artie had his wife, Lola, on his mind, and jealousy written all over his face, even while talking construction.
I'm packing dynamite in these grooves, here on the map. Okay?
The location's okay, Artie, fine, but why are you packing it? Why not Pedro? Packing dynamite's his job.
Because I want it like that, Delaney. I want to go back to sleeping nights.
Now, what's the gripe?
The same old one. You and Lola.
There's nothing between me and your wife, Artie.
You can't take your eyes off her.
Neither can 50 other guys, Artie. Lola's a good-looking gal. Guys can't help being guys, but it's hands off. She's your wife, and I respect that. Believe me, Artie.
After I pack those rocks personally, I might believe you.
What's packing those rocks got to do with it?
I'm up there on the side of the mountain with a keg of dynamite under me. If you want Lola bad enough, all you got to do is set off the charge before I signal all clear.
What?
Yeah. Blow me to bits by accident. On purpose.
Artie, you're stark raving nuts.
Sure, I don't deny it. I'm going bats wondering how much you go for Lola and how much Lola goes for you.
Come on.
And how often do you meet and when I'm not looking and where.
Artie.
And what are you two connivers up against me? Sure, I'm nuts. That's why I'm packing that dynamite instead of Pedro.
Just what's that going to prove?
If I live, I'll know there's a limit to how far you go against me. If I live, I'll think maybe I'm way wrong about you. If I live, maybe we can be friends like before.
Artie, you're nuts.
You afraid, Delaney? Afraid you might see to it that I do blow up?
Okay. Prove what you have to your own way. You know Pedro's routine?
Let it perfect. When I pack the rocks and I'm in the clear out of the blast area, I blow this whistle.
Twice. You blow it twice, and loud.
All right. Then you count off 30 seconds before you release the blast. Do I know the routine?
Go pack the rocks. It was crazy, like a schoolboy dare, but Artie was a schoolboy when it came to Lola. I waited for the whistles to signal all clear. I counted off 30 seconds and then released the blast. With that explosion, my nightmare began right there in that construction shack.
Senor Delaney!
What is it, Pedro?
You blow up the mountain without waiting for the whistles. You blow up the Senor Artie.
Pedro, what kind of a crazy joke is this?
No joke, senor. I swear, no joke.
Without waiting for the whistles, you said, but there were 2 whistles clear and distinct.
No, senor, there were no whistles. I, Pedro, am not deaf to the whistles.
And I, Delaney, am not deaf to the whistles either. Come on, you dirty little lying. What are you trying to pull off here?
No, please, senor, I tell the truth. You blow up the Senor Artie, senor. But if you want Pedro to lie, then Pedro lie. Then I hear the whistle, see? Oh, Madre Mia, yes, I hear the whistle. I swear to that.
Sure of something, and then you're not sure. Could I have imagined those whistles? We searched the side of the mountain in the area of the blast, searching for whatever was left of Artie. Searching with me was Kelleher, the town sheriff.
Everything was according to the book, you say. Finch packed those rocks, then signaled all clear.
Yes, I set off the charge after hearing Artie's signal.
2 whistles, huh?
2 whistles, and 30 more seconds as an additional safety precaution.
How was it Artie Finch packed those rocks? Wasn't that something new for him?
Well, Artie asked if he could do it.
How come?
Well, no reason. Novelty, I guess.
How come you allowed it?
Artie knew the routine.
That isn't my question, Delaney.
Well, I haven't any answer.
I see. Couldn't it be maybe that you ordered Artie to pack those rocks?
Why would I do that?
I don't know. Gang bosses get funny ideas sometimes. I'm afraid we're wasting our time looking for Artie's remains. That blast hit him like a fragmentation bomb.
Well, look, maybe it didn't hit Artie. Maybe Artie isn't dead.
Then where is he?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he's dazed, wandering around somewhere in the mountain. He got out of the blast area, but not far enough.
I don't think so, Delaney. We haven't found a corpse, but I've been picking up a few things here and there while I've been searching.
Picking up what?
This, for instance.
A piece of cloth?
A collar off a windbreaker. And this.
A watch?
The shell of a watch. There's an inscription in the case, if you notice.
To Artie with love, Lola.
And something else, Delaney. A more, gruesome exhibit. I've got my back to it. Have a look.
I'm sick.
I said the blast hit him like a fragmentation bomb.
In his town office, the sheriff had Lola Finch identify some articles.
What about this watch, Mrs. Finch?
It's a watch I gave Artie on his last birthday.
Was Artie in the habit of wearing it?
All the time.
Go ahead, cry if you want to.
I've already done my crying.
Lola, I'm terribly sorry for what happened, but...
But it wasn't anybody's fault. Is that what you wanted to say, Delaney?
Well, it's one of those weird accidents. That 1 in 1,000.
1 in 1,000, huh? I'd mark that on Artie's headstone.
Kelleher, if you're trying to make a reputation as a cynic, you're doing it big.
Artie doesn't mind me being cynical. The dead aren't very sensitive.
What is it with you, Kelleher?
Missouri. I was born in Missouri. A lot of funny ideas kick around in my head.
Like?
Like this one. Lola, how was the marriage while it lasted?
Fine.
Happy, both of you?
Why, of course.
I never saw a happy man get drunk as often as Artie did.
Artie was anxious sometimes, like everybody gets. What are you hinting at?
Did Artie blow those whistles, but sit right down on the dynamite?
What?
Could he have committed suicide?
No. Not Artie, never.
You're so sure, huh?
Artie liked living. He was cheerful about things. He made plans.
Don't get steam heated. It was only an idea. I've got something to attend to for a minute. I'll only be a minute.
I was alone with Lola when she threw her bombshell.
Why did you do it, Delaney?
Who? What, Lola?
Murder Artie.
Lola, you're crazy. You think I deliberately dynamited Artie?
I don't think it. I know it.
Why would I?
Take another look.
Look at what?
At me. I'm the girl you used to write gooey letters to. Even I blushed reading them.
That was before you married Artie, Lola.
And when I danced at the Amarillo, you sat up front every night till closing time, all pop-eyed.
That also was before you married Artie.
You proposed marriage how many hundred times?
But you married Artie.
I married Artie because I was afraid of you.
What does that mean?
I was afraid to stay single with a maniac like you around.
Sure, before. I admit I had ideas, but after you and Artie hooked up, I gave up.
Liar.
What are you accusing me of?
Of prowling after me on the streets night after night since I've been married to Artie.
What?
Of watching me whenever you could in the hairdressers and restaurants, peeping at me.
Lola.
Or trying to pull me into a car right in front of the Eagle Hotel as recently as last night.
What are you talking
about? Last night was my anniversary. I'd been married a year to Artie. Now tell me you didn't murder Artie on the job, you crazy maniac.
Lola, none of what you said rings any bell at all about my spying the car. I don't remember any of that.
You really are insane. Oh, no, maybe just being clever. Building a defense against a murder rap. Well, look, about that attempt to kidnap me, there was an eyewitness to it.
Who's the witness?
Pop Wilkes. He runs the shoe shine parlor on Main Street. He saw the whole thing right through his store window. Anytime you want to refresh your memory.
Well, I'm back. Have a nice chat, you two?
Huh?
I asked, did you and Mrs. Finch have a nice chat?
Look, I don't get your drift, Keller.
No, you don't. But Lola does. Don't you, Mrs. Finch?
I'd be stupid not to. You arranged to leave us in here alone.
I knew you were a smart one. See Delaney in this drawer? See that gadget?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, so what?
It's called a tape machine. It makes a record of conversation.
Why, you...
So long, Delaney. See you around.
I can go, you say?
Is there any reason why you should stay, Delaney?
No. No reason.
Then so long. I want to hear what the tape says.
Keller had a record of Lola's accusations. I went to talk to Pop Wilkes. Could one guy split up into two people with one half of him blank as to what the other half was doing or done? I'd heard of cases like that.
You here for a shine, Mr. Delaney?
Yeah, Pop, shine heavy on the polish.
You always do. Set your foot right now.
Uh-huh.
How's that there road coming along, huh?
Okay.
About through with the blasting now, are you?
Yeah, about.
It's too bad about Artie Finch.
That was a bad break.
You didn't come in here only for a shine.
Why do you say that, Bob?
Your shoes are shined already better than I can shine them. How much you going to pay me to shut up?
Shut up about what?
Me seeing you trying to drag Artie's wife into your car last night?
One guy could be two people. I was getting proof of it. In the Atlantic House Saloon, I began seeing faces in the bar mirror in double focused. Two faces. Two versions of my own face.
Hello, Delaney.
Lola.
Shall we continue our little chat?
You've said all you can say.
Oh, not half yet. I saw you get a shine at Pop Wilkes.
Well, who's watching who now?
Did you get your memory back with the shine? Why, you're not talking.
But you are on the reels of tape.
Reels of tape you'll hang from.
Oh, you want that?
I'll dance at your funeral, the same dance you sat through for 40 nights at the Amarillo.
And that's for my murdering Artie?
For your murdering Artie.
A guy you didn't give a rap about.
He was my husband.
Only while he kept making big pay. Only so long as you didn't have to dance your feet raw for 35...
Well, what's this kind of talk going to get you?
I don't know, Lola. I'm just trying to think.
Think? You mean figure out a new line of defense, don't you?
Just kind of find it funny. You talking like a prosecuting attorney. You all hopped up and screaming for revenge because of Artie. Artie, who was a paper husband.
Who you blew up.
Nobody's arrested me yet.
No. But don't get too happy over that. It's officially an accident so far. But wait till the evidence changes it to an accident on purpose.
Where's this evidence coming from?
Oh, from you, Delaney.
Me?
Well, you'll put the finger on yourself. You'll brood over the murder and think of Artie blown into 1,000 pieces. Pretty soon he'll begin to haunt you.
Lola, will you
He'll
stop?
be with you everywhere, every minute, waking and sleeping. You'll see him in your dreams. You'll wake up mornings to Artie asking how many lumps of sugar, please.
Look, when it's like that, it's bad like that. What does the guy do, Lola?
He confesses. He runs to Kelleher and confesses to murder.
Lola had it right. Artie began living with me. On the job. Dynamiting through the mountain.
Pedro's packed the rocks, Delaney.
Artie.
Hear the whistles, Delaney?
Artie, I heard them when you whistled, too. Artie, I'll take an oath.
Ready now? Count off 30 seconds. Now, release the charge. Blow it up.
That was Artie screaming. Artie being blown to bits all over again. I got Artie again later, pulling into my garage.
Oh, Delaney.
Artie.
You gotta remember to wait for the whistles, Delaney.
Artie, I waited. Artie, I swear I heard.
2 whistles, then you count off 30 seconds before releasing the charge.
Artie, no. Artie, you're driving me crazy.
2 whistles, Delaney.
You're dead, Artie. Get back to your grave.
How can I, Delaney? There was hardly anything left of me to bury.
And upstairs where I lived. I didn't even get time to get the key in the lock. Somebody inside an empty apartment was letting me in.
Come in, Delaney.
Artie, please, no more tonight.
Artie, aren't you a little confused, Delaney?
Keller.
That's better. Been seeing ghosts, have you?
Yeah. Artie, he's with me everywhere. There's no let up. Keller.
Yes, Delaney?
I murdered Artie Finch. Now lock me up, take me out, and hang me. Let's get this over with.
You're moving a lot faster than the law can, Delaney.
I can't stand any more of this.
Then sit down and listen.
Listen? Listen to what?
Lola Finch accused you of murder. I have it on tape, but I didn't arrest you.
No, you didn't, and I couldn't figure out why you did.
Because there are angles to what happened out there to Artie Finch. Angles that need thinking about.
What angles?
For one thing, insurance. Artie's death is worth $30,000 to his widow, Lola Finch.
I didn't know Artie carried that much.
He doubled the amount 1 month before he died.
A lot of dough, $30,000 for a dame like Lola. With that much, you set fire to the world.
But if she doesn't get the money...
Doesn't? How could that be?
If Artie committed suicide, say, there's a clause that voids the policy in the event of suicide. Not a cent for the widow.
Well, is that why you've been hounding the suicide angle since the start?
That's also why Lola made the fancy speech about how Artie loved life. How Artie had big plans for the future.
You mean she was trying to beat down the suicide angle?
As hard as she could. That's also why she's playing on your nerves. Talking into the tape machine, making you see ghosts.
I don't get it.
In the event of murder, she still collects. You hang, but Lola collects. Now, Delaney, let me ask you something. Artie had no business packing those rocks, did he?
No. He asked to do it. He insisted that he wanted to.
He gave you the 2-whistle signal that it was all clear for you to go ahead and blast.
Yes, that's right.
That meant he was supposed to be out of the blast area.
Yes.
But he wasn't out of the blast area. He was right in it. That means he deliberately stayed in it.
Artie meant to be blown up?
That's my theory.
Why?
To make Lola a rich widow.
That doesn't make sense.
Artie Finch didn't make sense. He married a woman who ate him alive. He gave her every penny he had. When he went broke, he borrowed to give her more.
Yeah, Artie always was a sucker for punishment.
Sure. You see the angle now?
Not altogether. What's your angle in pushing this suicide idea as hard as you are?
20% of the money saved. The company promised me 20% as a reward.
Oh, I see. Then it could have still been an accident. or murder.
Lola really got to you, huh?
Yeah. Lola really got to me. In bed, fighting off sleep to keep Artie out of my dreams, I thought some more about one guy being two people with one half of him blank to the other half. I couldn't buy Kelleher's theory because of Pedro and Pop Wilkes. Pedro hadn't heard the whistles. And Pop Wilkes had spelled out insanity for me. My insanity.
Delaney. Oh, Delaney.
Artie, please lay off.
Give up, Delaney. Confess you
I tried to, Artie, but Kelleher wouldn't believe me.
Give up and confess.
Artie, no more tonight.
Give up and confess, Delaney, and you won't be saved.
No more tonight, I tell you. Stop that laughing. Will you stop that laughing?
Delaney, don't shoot. Don't shoot anymore.
Artie. I shot a ghost. But a ghost who bled all over the floor, blood coming from his chest, his neck, his shoulder. Artie dying on my floor. Dying a second time.
Delaney, it was a trick Lola thought up. A phony death. I hid out in the mountains. $30,000. We were going to blow it in on a time for ourselves. Even my jealousy was all an act. Do you hear me, Delaney?
Yes. I hear you, Artie, but there was almost enough to reconstruct a corpse. Who was it, Artie?
A tramp I'd hauled off a boxcar. I got him beard up and sat him on that keg.
You had to be cold-blooded for that.
You get cold-blooded from the ice in Lola.
What about Pedro? Pop Wilkes?
$1,000 apiece was the bait. Some guys sell their souls for $1,000, Delaney.
Like some guys sell it for $30,000, huh?
Yeah, like me. I'm sorry, Delaney, for everything. I'm remembering we were friends once.
So it all turns out that I murdered you anyhow.
Yeah. The rap this time will be a medal. They'll pin a medal on you. Delaney.
What?
Stay away from Lola. Don't step into my shoes.
It's a funny time to give me advice. You're out of it now, Artie. You're dying.
Goodbye, Delaney, again. And this time I'm not kidding.
Suspense. You have been listening to Man Trap, starring Don MacLaughlin, and written especially for Suspense by John Robert. Suspense is produced and directed by Bruno Zerato Jr. Musical supervision by Ethel Huber. Featured in tonight's story were Joseph Julian as Kelleher, Terry Keane as Lola, Ralph Bell as Artie Finch, Lawson Zerby as Pop Wilkes, and Ralph Camargo as Pedro. Listen again next week when we return with The Luck of the Tiger Eye, written by Jack Buttram. Another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
There's no doubt about it. Other people's kids are never as funny as your own, except the kids on Art Linkletter's house party. They're always good for a laugh, so join them weekdays right here. Stars shed their inhibitions on Arthur Godfrey Time weekdays on the CBS Radio Network.
Don MacLaughlin and that great Mandel Kramer. You love those roles he plays. I know I do. 62 years ago, November 26, 1961, Suspense on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Boston Blackie, starring Dick Kollmar, comes up next. But first, these important messages.
Let's make this the year of the well-informed voter, the voter who feels that it pays to devote some time and some effort to get information concerning the background and qualifications of each candidate who says, I want your vote. Let's make this the year of the well-informed voter who knows all the facts when he goes to the polls, who studies the figures and figures to study each promising, backslapping, vote-getting body of each candidate. He'll ask, what are your goals? Let's make this the year of the well-informed voter who knows that his vote is a great legacy, who poses a question for every vote-getter. Will he make America stronger and better? Will he keep the land we love happy and free?
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we turn to the husband of Dorothy Kilgallen, Dick Kollmar, stars as Boston Blackie. In this episode about the Lenny Powell murder, was originally broadcast November 26, 1946, 77 years ago.
Lincoln Airport.
Joe?
Yeah, Emily?
Did you just call me, darling?
No, I didn't, hon.
Oh, the phone rang a minute ago, but whoever it was hung up before I could answer it.
Oh, well, it wasn't me. Probably one of your boyfriends.
Now, is that a nice way for a husband to talk to his wife?
Oh, hon, can't you take a joke?
Sure, darling. I was only kidding, too. Look, I'm going down to the grocer's. Anything special you want me to get?
No, anything you get's okay.
All right. I'll get something I know you like.
Swell.
Bye, darling.
Bye, hon. See you at dinner.
Well, howdy, Joe.
Oh, hello, Tex. Say, I've got
look,
something...
Joe, what's the Aronka out number 2 runway for? You taking a little private trip?
No, Tex, I was just about to tell you. I took that offer Lenny Powell made us. I'm going to fly it to Branchville.
Well, boy, howdy, that's all right, son. Did you tell Bill we're getting $5,000 for the whole?
No, I didn't, but I'm going to as soon as I see him, which maybe won't be till I get back. Powell's here now.
Oh, he is? Where?
Over in the administration building, making a phone call, I guess. He's going to be right back.
Hey, why is Mike taking the Aronka out? What kind of a freight line are we running?
Howdy, Bill.
I'm glad you showed up, Bill. I wanted to tell you. I'm taking the Aronka out today, and it's going to save our airline for us.
Yeah? What are you going to do, Joe? Sell the thing?
No, I'm flying Lenny Powell to Branchville, and we're going to get $5,000 for the job.
We're going to get 5 G's? Just to haul a guy to Branchville? What, this guy Powell must be nuts.
I don't care what he is. We can use a few more like him.
You said it.
Oh, but look, don't tell anybody Powell's here or that we're taking him anyplace. I promised him nobody but the 3 of us would know this. But he's carrying $25,000 in cash with him.
Wow. $25,000 with him, huh?
Yeah.
We sure could use money like that.
Yeah, Tex, we sure could.
What'd you say he is, Joe? Over at the administration building?
Yeah, Bill, making a phone call.
Well, give him a good trip to Branchville, Joe, and get that $5,000 from him. We need it. See you later.
Yeah, bye.
I gotta run a little errand.
Long, Bill.
Tex, you hold down things at the office, will you? I gotta get something over at the hangar.
Why, sure, son.
You won't be running off now, will you, Tex?
No, stay right here, chum.
Okay, see you before I take off.
Sure, see you. Well, boy, howdy. Those 2 aren't leaving old Tex here to answer the telephone. Not when he's got something more important to do.
And now, on to Dick Kollmar as Boston Blackie. Enemy to those who make him an enemy. Friend to those who have no friend.
Emily.
I'm over here, Tex, darling. Behind the garage.
Well, boy, howdy. You sure know the good hiding places around this airport. Are you, honey?
Tex.
Oh, baby. Nobody saw you come here, did they, honey?
No. Matter of fact, I called Joe from across the road. Told him I was at the apartment, just leaving for the grocery store. He thinks I'm still in town.
Boy, howdy, you sure can give that husband of yours a first-class runaround, can't you?
You aren't objecting, are you, Tex? I'm doing it for you.
I'm mighty glad you are, sugar. Oh, I'm all for you. Hey, look, I only got a couple of minutes.
Oh.
I'm supposed to be in the office to answer the telephone.
But, Tex,
I wanted to tell you, we got a big job, so the airline's going to keep running all right.
That's good, but it doesn't help us any, Tex. I'm not going to give Joe the air until we have some money of our own.
Don't you worry, sweetheart. We're going to have money, and a lot of it. And sooner than you think.
Hello, Avery. This is Powell, Lenny Powell.
Oh, hello, Powell. Where are you?
Still in the city, Avery. Been trying to phone you for 15 minutes. I'm just about to leave for Branchville.
Oh, that's fine, Lenny, as long as you get here with that money in 2 hours.
Look, I'll be there in less than 2 hours, Avery. I'm flying up. I've chartered a private plane.
Fine. Now, don't forget to bring the money with you.
Yeah, $25,000. Right here in my briefcase.
Well, you put it right here in my hands inside of 2 hours, Lenny. The deal's closed.
Don't worry. You'll have it. See you in Branchville, Avery.
I'll be looking for you, Lenny. Bye.
Bye. Oh, hello there. Just about time to take off? Hey, what are you doing? No. No. No, don't.
Sit down. I said sit down, Joe.
I don't have to push, Tex.
I gotta do something. Boy, howdy, somebody's gotta do something. We're in a jam, the three of us.
We thought things were tough when we didn't have money enough to keep this airline going. They're really tough now. We've got a murder on our hands.
All right, that's what I'm trying to clear up. Now, looky here, you two guys. All three of us are in this thing up to our sombreros. We gotta cover it up somehow.
That's no good, Tex, no good. It's like I've been trying to tell you. Sure, that Powell guy was killed out here. Sure, the 25 G's he was carrying is missing, but we gotta turn this over to the cops.
You left out one sure, Joe. You forgot to say sure only the three of us knew he was here and carrying that dough. That makes it look like one of us killed him. I say no cops.
Sure, you say that. Why shouldn't you say that? You probably knocked them off. That's why you don't want the cops in on it.
I said before for you to shut up. Maybe this will help convince you. I meant it.
Hey, cut it, fellas.
All right.
Okay, Tex. This has been cooking for a long while. You want to play, I'll play like this.
All right, that suits me if that's the way you want it.
Break it up, will you, Tex? Joe, cut it out.
I'll cut his heart out. That's what I'll cut out.
Why not? One murder, more or less.
Why, you dirty
Stop. Both of you.
Quit it now. We've got enough trouble without fighting among ourselves.
Trouble? We don't know what trouble is yet. Bill, look at the facts. Only Tex and you and I knew about Powell. Powell's dead, okay. But if we don't go to the cops, what happens to us? They'll find out he was killed. They'll find out he was here, and we'll all go to the chair.
They gotta find out first.
They'll find out, Tex. The police always do. I go along with Joe.
That's good, Bill. That makes it pretty clear who must have killed Powell, the one that doesn't want the police in.
You know, you're just about asking for something, Joe.
I'm asking for plenty. I'm asking for the police to be let in on this so that nobody slips me a bum rap. I had nothing to do with Powell's death. I got nothing to worry about if the cops show up here at the airport.
None of us has. Except the one that killed Paul.
Okay. This kind of looks like a showdown, don't it, boys? All right, it's a showdown. I'm saying go ahead. Bring the cops in if that's what you want to do. Call them, bring them in. They won't prove nothing against me.
You're too sure of yourself, Tex. We'll call the cops, all right. But I'm going to do something else, too. I'm going to see Boston Blackie. If the cops don't find out anything, I got news for you. Blackie will. That's the way it was, Blackie. Bill went on an errand somewhere, and Tex didn't stay in the office the way he promised.
You sure of that, Joe?
Yeah, Blackie. He was going to stay in the office while Bill and I were out, but he wasn't there when I got back.
And he wouldn't say where he'd been?
No, in fact, he got kind of excited when I asked him. Sort of sore about it.
I see.
So do I, Blackie. And you got to help me. Either Bill or Tex killed Powell, and I've got to know which one it is. You will help me, won't you, Blackie?
Don't you think you should go to the police for help?
We called the cops, but we didn't tell them all the details. I knew you'd find the murderer before any cops.
Thanks for the confidence. You say we found the body. Who's we?
Bill, Tex, and me. We went to the administration building to get Powell, and boom, there he was.
With the $25,000 gone.
Yeah, it was gone.
Then Powell was slugged and killed by someone who knew he was carrying that money. Now, who besides you, Tex and Bill, knew Powell had $25,000?
Nobody else. That's why I know it's Tex or Bill who killed him. It's got to be one of those two.
Yes, that's right, Joe. It has to be Tex or Bill. That is, if it isn't you. Tex, Bill, and Joe, all three found the body, Faraday. That's definite.
All three of these guys found it, huh, Blackie?
Well, according to what Joe here told me.
And I guess Joe said it was me. Huh, Blackie?
Yes, I did. I said it was either Tex or you.
Trying to pin this on me, are you? I don't have the daylights out of you,
Well, boy, howdy, you better work on him soon, Bill, because I'm going to take a crack at him, too.
Nobody's taking any cracks at anybody, kids. Right now, all of you listen. Nobody but you three fellas, Tex, Bill, and Joe, knew Powell had that $25,000 with him.
That's right. So it's one of these three who killed Powell.
Marvelous deduction, Inspector. Even they admit that.
You mean Joe here admits either Tex or I killed him?
Okay, Bill, relax. The point is that none of the three of you can prove where you were when Powell was killed.
Anybody mind if I butt in a minute?
Who are you?
For me, I just work here. That's what I want to do, work.
Oh, this is Mike, Inspector Faraday, head of our ground crew. Just stand by, Mike.
Okay. See you later.
Mike, how's your dad feeling?
Oh, not good, Tex. Got another wire this morning. Old man's pretty sick.
Sorry about that, Mike.
Thanks, Bill. I wouldn't worry so much, except he's stuck way up there in Kansas. The doc has to drive 50 miles to get to him.
No hospital in the town, Mike?
Hospital, Blackie? No town. Ever hear of a thing called Plainsville, Kansas?
Can't say I did.
Nobody else has either, except my dad and about 30 other landowners. Oh, well, I'll just sit tight till I get more orders, huh?
Yeah, Mike, sit tight. This thing will be cleared up pretty soon. Don't you think so, Inspector Faraday?
I sure do, Joe. I'll tell you what else I think. Maybe you're all guilty, so I'm going to arrest all three of you.
You can't do that.
No, Faraday, don't do that. Confine them to the field, if you like. But don't make any arrests.
What?
I'll tell you which of these three killed Powell, and I'll tell you soon.
Yes.
Mrs. Emily Carrington?
Yes.
Joe Carrington's wife?
Uh-huh.
I'm Boston Blackie. You probably know your husband is involved in a murder out at his airfield. And
Yes, I know. He called me a little while ago and told me. You want to talk to me about it, don't you?
Yes, about it and about Joe.
Well, come in then.
Thanks. Your husband needed money rather badly, didn't he, Mrs. Carrington?
Yes, he did.
To keep his airline or to keep you happy?
I don't think I like that implication.
And I don't like murder, Mrs. Carrington. Now, suppose you...
Excuse me while I answer the phone.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Hello?
Hello, Emily, honey. This is Tex. I
Sorry,
wanted to
Joe.
know...
I can't talk to you now.
Emily, I said this was Tex, not Joe.
And I said I couldn't talk
Here, let me talk to him.
Let go of that phone. You let go of that
Too
phone.
late. Hello, Joe?
Boy, howdy, what's the matter up there? This isn't... Uh-oh.
Uh-oh is right, Tex. When a man answers in a spot like this, you ought to hang up, especially if I'm the man. Hello? Hello? Well, I got what I wanted anyhow.
Well, satisfied now, Blackie?
Satisfied and surprised, Mrs. Carrington. Naughty, naughty. Married to Joe and in love with Tex. Tell me, did Tex kill Powell for the $25,000 by himself, or did you go out and help him this afternoon?
Look, I never go out to the airport.
No, that's funny.
What is?
That run on your shoes. There's a peculiar colored mud, Mrs. Carrington. There's only one spot around here where it's found.
Oh? Okay, I was there today. I went to meet Tex, but I didn't have anything to do with killing that Mr. Powell, and I don't know who did.
That's your story. Thanks for telling me that you were at the airport. You see, I don't really know what color mud there is out there. I never bothered to notice. Besides, I'm not very interested in mud. It's the dirty work of this case I want to figure out.
Blackie, for the last time, I'm telling you, get out of my office. Better still, get out of my life.
What life? You don't call that thing you're living a life, do you, Faraday? Nothing doing, pal. But there's plenty doing between Tex and Joe Carrington's wife, Emily.
You said that. So what?
So I know this much. Emily Carrington either killed Powell herself or Tex killed him, and she knows it.
You think so, huh?
I certainly do. She's the key to the whole thing. Get her to talk and your troubles are over.
If I ever get you to shut up, they'll be over.
Inspector Faraday.
Yeah, Burke, what do you want?
Nothing, Inspector, but here's something I think you'll want.
What is it?
A report just came in over the teletype. There's been a murder up in Northside.
Well, who got it this time? As if I don't have enough trouble with the Powell murder.
Well, this has some connection with it, Inspector. Victim's name was Emily Carrington.
And now, back to Boston Blackie. Tex, Joe, and Bill, pilot owners of a small freight-carrying airline, are chief suspects in the robbery murder of the wealthy Lenny Powell. Each thinks one of the other two is guilty of the crime. Investigating the murder, Blackie sees Joe's wife, finds she is in love with Tex, and was at the airport at the time of the crime. But later, Joe's wife is a murder victim, too. So, as we return to our story, Blackie and his girlfriend, Mary Wesley, walk into the airport hangar in search of further clues.
Blackie, is that the fellow Joe you were looking for?
No, I don't think so, Mary.
Oh.
Looks like Mike, the mechanic.
Hey, Mike. Oh, hi, Blackie.
What are you doing, Mike? Hammering that plane apart?
Me? Nah, trying to hammer it back together.
Where's Joe?
In one of the rooms in back. He'll be out in a minute.
Good. Oh, look, before he comes out, why don't you tell me what you know about Powell's murder?
And about Emily Carrington's murder, too, Blackie. Don't forget that.
I'll settle for finding out who killed Powell first, Mary. What do you know about it, Mike?
For me, nothing, Blackie.
You didn't see Tex or Joe or Bill come out of the administration building about the time of Powell's death?
No, how could I?
Well, if you were here in the hangar, you could look out
Well, what makes you think I was here in the hangar?
I didn't say you were, Mike. I said if you were.
And that's a big if.
And you're a little girl, Mary, and little girls...
Should be seen and not heard. I know. I'll be quiet. Especially if Mike will talk.
Well, me, I ain't got nothing to talk about.
Why not, Mike? You're the most talkative guy on the field.
Oh, hello, Joe. I want to talk to you.
Well, if it's about Powell's murder and Emily's death, you'll be wasting your time. I've already told you all I know.
Well, maybe I haven't told you all I know.
Oh, yeah? You know something?
Uh-huh. Your wife was planning to divorce you and marry Tex.
Oh, is that supposed to be news?
Well, it was to me until Tex told me.
Well, it was to me, too, when I figured it out a couple of months ago. Tex killed Powell to get money for Emily, huh?
Or you killed Powell to get money for Emily.
Blackie. I'm no killer. She deserved what she got, but I didn't do it.
Oh, I see. Then you're not sorry Emily was killed.
I'm not glad, but I guess she had it coming to her. Who killed her? Tex?
Or you?
What about Bill?
I think it's a toss-up between you and Tex.
Why? Because of Emily?
That could be the reason.
Well, Bill needs money as much as Tex and me.
Maybe so, but Bill didn't have the incentive to get it. Don't go away. I'll answer this.
You just take over no matter where you are, don't you, Blackie?
I have to sometimes. Funny, the phone only rang once.
In the airline office with you, Inspector Faraday? No, he isn't. Who's this?
Hey, wait a minute. What's going on here? Is that you, Faraday?
Yeah, this is Faraday. Who's that, Blackie?
Oh, yes. Well, where are you, Faraday?
Up here in the airline's office. Where are you?
Over here in the hangar. How did you happen to answer the phone?
It rang here, that's why. Why did you answer?
Because it rang here, too. Who's on the other end of the line?
I am, Blackie. This is Tex.
Oh, Tex, huh? Oh, where are you calling from?
Lunch wagon across the road from the field.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot, Tex.
Thanks. What for, Blackie?
What for, Tex? Well, unless my hunch is wrong, when I answered this phone, I found the answer to who killed Lenny Powell and Emily Carrington.
Look, Blackie, will you quit questioning the three of us blue in the face and find out which one of us did it?
That's really what I'm trying to do, Joe. Now, I want to ask you each just one more question. You first, Tex. Where are you from?
Well, boy, howdy, you can't tell that. I'm from Texas. Orangeboro, Texas.
Uh-huh, and you, Bill. Where are you from?
I'm from Halpern, Maine.
You know, I have ways of checking this.
Go ahead, check. Halpern's a small town. Everybody in the county knows me.
All right, I'll take your word for it for now. Joe, where are you from?
Right here.
Local boy, huh?
Yeah, and I figure on making good as soon as you tell me which one of these two guys killed Powell and my wife, and I can get back to work.
Anxious to get in one of your planes and fly away, huh, Joe?
You think I did it, huh?
I've stopped thinking, Joe. I know who's guilty now.
Yeah? How do you know, Blackie?
The evidence is graphic, Bill. Geographic.
Look, Blackie, I got other things to do besides hang around out here on a flying field.
What other things, Faraday? You haven't had anything to do since I came on this case, and you know it.
I don't know anything.
You're not kidding, pal. Faraday, my friend, you ought to do something constructive with that badge of yours. Use it to pin your suspenders together or something. Certainly doesn't mean anything where it is.
Oh, yeah?
That's what I like. Snappy answers. Now, if you'll be quiet just 1 second, I'll tell you what we're waiting for.
Well, it's about time. Hey, here comes that mechanic, Mike. What you have to say is going to have to wait, Blackie.
At least it gives you something to look forward to, Inspector.
Inspector Faraday.
Well, what is it, Mike? What is it?
This telegram I just got, Inspector. Here, read it.
I'll take it, Mike.
You'll take nothing, Blackie. Give it to me, Mike. Thanks.
What's it all about, Mike?
That's from my old man, Blackie. He's pretty sick out in Plainsville.
Plainsville? Where's that?
If you could read, Blackie, you'd know where it is. It says here on the telegram. It's in Kansas.
You're reading the telegram, Faraday. I'm not.
Oh.
Okay, never mind. What's the matter with your father, Mike?
Well, I don't know. He's been sick a long time, and, well, he's getting old. I gotta go see him, Inspector Faraday. I ain't seen my old man in 9 years.
Okay, you can go, Mike. But keep in touch with us, and make sure you come back.
Oh, don't worry, Inspector. I'll be back, I promise.
Be sure you do keep that promise, Mike. But I'll tell you a little secret, something even Inspector Faraday doesn't know.
Yeah, what?
I don't have to worry about you coming back. I already know who killed Lenny Powell and Emily Carrington.
Hey, look, Blackie, you forced me to tell those 3 partners they could come and go as they please. All right. Why wouldn't they fly out of town instead of taking a train?
This is a rather odd case, Faraday, so expect a rather odd finish to it.
It's odd, all right. I don't even see the connection between the murder of Powell and the death of Emily Carrington.
It's just a hunch, Faraday, but I think it's a good one. Emily was at the field when Powell was murdered.
Yeah?
She saw the killer. She tried to blackmail the killer for part of the robbery money. The killer wouldn't pay.
So Mrs. Carrington paid, huh?
Yes, with her life. Blackmail's a dangerous business.
And so standing in a railroad station when we ought to be watching that airport.
Oh, no. Hey, there goes our killer, Faraday.
Huh? Where?
There, getting into car 409. Come on.
Hey, that's Mike.
My, what a memory for faces. And names, too.
But, Blackie, you said...
Never mind what I said. Listen to what I say now. Hey, Mike. Wait a minute.
Oh, Blackie, hello.
Hello, Mike. Traveling rather light for a trip all the way out to Kansas, aren't you?
Me, yeah, but I don't expect to stay in Kansas very long.
You're not even going to Kansas, Mike. You're going to jail.
Me? Jail? What for?
Murder, Mike. The murder of Lenny Powell and Emily Carrington.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding, Mike.
This guy committed those murders? You're nuts, Blackie.
Yeah, tell him, Faraday.
Let me have that suitcase, Mike.
Let go.
Grab him, Faraday, while I take this suitcase away from him.
Can't get him, but I don't know why.
There's nothing in there but my clothes.
No.
Let go.
Well, yeah, now, wait till I open it.
You won't find anything.
Hey, relax.
Well, look what the well-dressed murderer is wearing this season. Folding money. Rather expensive material, isn't it, Mike?
Hey, how much is in there, Blackie?
I don't even have to count it. I think you'll find $25,000 in here, Faraday. The money he took from Lenny Powell. Well, Faraday, I closed this suitcase and your case at the same time.
Blackie, why are we taking a plane to Branchville?
To close that deal for Lenny Powell's company with this $25,000. And for the ride, too.
But why did the Powell's company ask you to go to Branchville for them?
Well, I closed a tough case of Faraday. They think I can close a tough deal for them.
Oh, my, aren't you modest?
No, just lucky. I had no idea Mike was the guilty one until Tex made that phone call, and I answered it in the hangar at the same time Faraday answered it in the office.
Well, what did that prove?
It proved the hangar phone was an extension phone, and any telephone conversation from the office could be overheard by Mike at the hangar.
Oh, so Mike could have heard Lenny Powell making arrangements with the partners to be flown to Branchville, and so he could have known about the $25,000.
Smart girl.
Yes, cleverness must be catching.
Thank you. Yes, Mary. Up until that one little break, I thought only Tex, Bill, and Joe knew about Powell and his money. And if only those three knew about it, one of those three had to be guilty. Catch on?
That I do. Hey, look who's coming across the field. It's Faraday.
And running, too. Wonder what he's excited about.
Hey, Blackie, I want to talk to you.
What's the matter, old pal? You need me to solve another case for you?
No. I want to know something.
Well, if I tell you, it'll be one thing, you know.
Oh, look, you. I called Plainsville, Kansas, where Mike's father was supposed to be sick. He didn't send Mike any telegram today.
Oh, that's right, Faraday. I forgot to tell you about that. I figured Mike killed Powell and Mrs. Carrington, who saw him do it, so I sent that telegram myself.
You sent it?
But why, Blackie?
For a very simple reason, Mary. I had to be sure. And one way was to find out whether or not Mike had stolen the money. I knew he was too smart to hide it here at the field or at his home, and I knew he wouldn't spend any of it here.
Oh, I get it. All Mike needed was an opportunity to get out of town naturally. You knew that his father was sick and had wired him once, and you knew that even Mike wouldn't suspect it was a trick if he heard from his father again.
That's right, Mary. So when Faraday here gave Mike permission to leave town, Mike felt it was safe to pick up the money and beat it out of town.
Well, I'll be. So you tripped Mike with that wire, huh?
Yes, Faraday, and because of that wire, you got a confession from him with no strings attached.
November 26, 1946, Boston Blackie on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow, Casey Crime Photographer, The Whistler, Gunsmoke, Have Gun Will Travel, and another episode of Claudia, but which, by the way, is what you'll hear next. A reminder that you can visit our webpage anytime at classicradio.stream. We'll check in with Claudia, but first, these words.
If this country should ever suffer a nuclear attack, governors, mayors, city managers, and other persons of authority in state and local governments would be working in emergency operating centers, directing the necessary survival and recovery actions. There are now more than 2,000 such centers throughout the United States. EOCs, they're called. And from these EOCs, persons of authority will direct all the civil defense activities in surrounding areas. An EOC Emergency Operating Center will be the focal point for gathering all civil defense information and for controlling and directing emergency actions in the event of a nuclear attack.
And we wrap up this episode of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with an episode of the Coca-Cola-sponsored soap opera Claudia. This episode was originally broadcast, 76 years ago, November 26th, 1947.
Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia. Claudia, based on the original stories by Rose Franken. Brought to you, transcribed Monday through Friday, by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
Mama's kitchen isn't so bad in the light of day.
You mean the floodwaters have receded?
You wouldn't know anything had happened. Almost. The only real casualty is Mama's double boiler.
Chalk up one double boiler we owe to Mama.
Half of it's all right. I mean, there's only a hole in one pot. It ought to single boil pretty well.
That sounds on the complicated side.
David.
Yes, darling?
It really is nice to be an architect.
What do you mean, nice?
I mean, it is fun. An architect must have a good time being an architect.
Come on in, darling. I can't hear you. Ouch. Nicked myself with this confounded razor. I forgot to bring a new blade with me when we came over to Mother's last night.
You nick yourself badly?
I'll live. Sure, an architect has a good time with his... Ouch.
Now what's happened?
I just nicked myself again with this confounded razor. Oh. Guess I'm not used to talking while I shave.
Why talk then?
It wasn't until you started.
No, but you were singing.
That's different. I don't know what I'm so happy about.
It's contagious. You caught it from me.
I just uncaught it. I just remembered that we have to have dinner with your Aunt Louisa tonight.
Well, we have to eat somewhere. Might as well be at Aunt Louisa's.
On the theory that if you're going to be shot, you might as well be hung.
We wouldn't be settled enough to eat at home anyway. We We can leave early.
Certainly takes more time for two people to get up in the morning than for one.
Naturally, it takes twice as long. David, stop. If you kiss me, it'll take twice as long again. Oh, darling, you smell pretty.
Well, that's a nice way for a man to smell.
I love the way men smell of shaving soap.
Have you had a lot of experience?
Oh, dear, and I tried so hard to keep my past a secret. David, I never dreamed an architect did more than just draw pictures on paper.
You never dreamed an architect doesn't do what?
Doesn't do more than just draw pretty pictures on pieces of colored paper.
Oh, where's my tie? Oh, here it is. That's only the beginning. He supervises the construction, schedules the work, gets the mason finished before the carpenters start, and the carpenters out before the plumbers, and the plumbers out before the electricians, and the electricians out before the painters. An architect's work is never done.
In that case, a woman should be very useful to an architect.
Very useful to this architect. Indispensable, in fact. I don't know how this particular architect ever got along without you.
Oh, David, we'll never get to breakfast.
All right. Come along if you'd rather eat.
I wouldn't rather. Oh, darling, I can't believe we'll be in our own apartment tonight.
It'll be like a honeymoon. I wish I could be sure the painters will be finished.
They will. I told them we couldn't wait, and they promised they'd be out.
I don't trust painters' promises.
It's my woman's charm.
Are you sure we'll have something to sleep on?
The store promised, too. I ordered the beds to be delivered this afternoon, and the kitchen stuff's coming.
Maybe I have been missing out in not having a woman partner.
Well, you've got one now. Oh, Fritz, here you are. Say, was a lot of furniture and boxes delivered for us?
Yes, I put everything in the bedroom.
Everything in that little room? Is this going to be awfully crowded?
Oh, I move it out again when the painter is finished.
When the painter finished? He promised to be all through today.
He will be. 5 o'clock sharp, he will be finished the floors and out. So you've got to hurry, Mrs. Norton.
I certainly will hurry. Mr. Norton will be here any minute.
I give you your keys, and I will be downstairs if you want me.
Thank you, but I don't think I'll need you till tomorrow, Fritz.
You just call me.
I will.
Look out, missus.
Oh, you're the painter. What are you doing here?
Painting. Hello, missus.
But you promised faithfully you'd be finished with the painting this afternoon. Won't you be?
Sure, I'll be out. Just a little more to go. Careful where you walk. Over there. I left a path for you into the bedroom.
Thank you.
Oh, it never fails.
What, the path into the bedroom?
No, lady. Tenants wanting things in a hurry. They just don't seem to want to let paint dry.
Oh, I'm sorry I've been a nuisance to you, but I was so anxious to get in.
Always people are anxious to get in, and then come the moving men, and they don't care a thing for paint. Just slam, bang their way around.
Oh, that's too bad.
Nobody cares about a painter. Paper hangers is the worst of all. Paper and paste all over the place. Competition, I guess that's what it is.
Yes, I guess that's what it is. But we're lucky we aren't having any paper, at least. All paint.
Yeah, but you'll be having moving men. Hey, look out, lady, for the wet floor going to the bedroom.
Oh, watch out.
That's what they all say. Oh, someone else coming. Hey, mister, not so fast. Wet paint, you can't come in.
I'll watch out.
Now he'll watch out. How am I going to get this floor painted if people are going to be tromping across it?
I promise I won't tromp. You see, I live here.
Oh, that's different. Well, the lady of the house, she's in the back.
Yoo-hoo, David, here I am. Keep to the path that leads to the bedroom.
All right, darling.
Did you hear what he called me? Isn't it wonderful?
What?
The painter, he called me the lady of the house. I don't know when anything has made me feel as married as that. Look, David.
What?
Sun's gone.
Well, maybe it has a date with some other apartment down the street.
We better hurry now and get dressed for Aunt Louisa's dinner.
Did you say dress?
Didn't I tell you I was so busy? She called this morning and asked specially, and I told her we would.
Well, that was nice of you. You promised your Aunt Louisa, and I'm the one that has to crawl into a boiled shirt. Why do we have to dress up?
Well, that's what I didn't tell you.
Well, tell me now.
Well, Aunt Louisa thought it would be a good idea for us to meet her friends, the Van Merrills.
Why?
Because they are going to do over their house, and she thought it would be nice for them to meet an architect.
In a boiled shirt. Do you know what I think?
Nope.
I think Aunt Louisa is a colossal pain in the neck.
But you'll go.
There's no possible way of getting out of it?
I'm afraid not. Anyway, Mama will be there, David, so it won't be so terribly bad for you. Now, let's see if our friend the painter's finished.
The coast is clear.
Come on, good. I'm all ready.
Hold on a minute.
What's wrong?
Your painter with the persecution complex has painted himself out the front door, and he's painted us in.
But, David, he couldn't have. He promised he'd be finished and we could move in this afternoon.
Stop and think. Did he actually promise that we could move in this afternoon?
Well?
Did he or didn't he?
Well, maybe not exactly, but that's what he implied. He said he'd be finished this afternoon. And any sensible person would think that with the painters gone...
Any sensible person would know that paint takes a number of hours to dry.
That's very inconsiderate of it. Anyway, couldn't we tiptoe across?
On the theory that tiptoes don't count. Yes, we could. But we'd leave our pretty little tiptoes permanently recorded on our living room floor.
Oh. But couldn't they paint it over tomorrow?
They could. And you would undoubtedly get yourself painted in again. Only next time, might not be my luck to be painted in with you.
But we've got to get out.
Wet paint would say, we're not going to get out.
Oh, you seem to be enjoying this. I have an idea you planned it all.
Oh, me? I had absolutely nothing to do with it.
David, this isn't any joke. What about Aunt Louisa's dinner party?
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking how nice it was we couldn't go.
Oh, but this is terrible.
What is so terrible about being cooped up with me?
But Aunt Louisa!
The best laid schemes of mice and men often work out in the most wonderful way.
But David, the Van Merrills and the cousins, and the dinner was really being given for us. Oh, darling, I've ruined everything, and I wanted to be such a help.
Oh, you're a magnificent help. You couldn't have done better even if you'd known what you were doing.
To be really honest, I don't want to go either,
Only what?
Only there's a cloud to every silver lining. If we miss Aunt Louisa's dinner party, we won't have anything to eat. We'll starve.
Oh, we'll get food. Now, you see. Wait a minute. Fritz! Fritz!
David, you can't scream out of a window like that. The neighbors, what'll they think?
I don't give a hoot. Hey, Fritz! Hey, Fritz!
Something's wrong up there? Someone wants me?
Over here, Fritz. Could you come up here?
Yeah, Mr. Norton. I'll be right up.
Good, thank you. He was just 2 floors below.
Oh, David, you've ruined our reputation.
That's better than ruining the paint.
I'm not sure.
I am.
Darling, I feel like an awful fool.
Did I say you weren't?
But it's such a silly thing to have done.
People do lots sillier things. They fall out of love and get divorced.
Mr. Norton?
Oh, here, Fritz.
Is something wrong, Mrs. Norton?
Don't come in, the floor's wet.
Oh, what a trouble. The painter told me you had gone out, but you had not gone out.
Very definitely we had not gone out. And now it would seem that very definitely we are not going to go out.
Oh, what a trouble.
No troubles at all. In fact, we can manage beautifully with your help.
Oh, what could I do?
Well, if you get a long broom, for an example, you could reach some food across to us without touching the floor.
Yeah, that would be good. Where's the food?
Well, if you could run down to the delicatessen, for an example, you could get some. 4 roast beef sandwiches.
No. 2 cheese and 2 roast beef, then we can split.
All right, with mustard and some pickles.
And olives.
Sure.
Oh, this is fun. But David.
Yes, I know, Aunt Louisa. I'll fix that, too. Can you reach the telephone there in the foyer, Fritz?
Yes, I can reach it.
Plaza 54077.
I am dialing it. Plaza 54077. So I dialed it. Now what do I do?
You ask for Mrs. Brown. Tell her you have a message from Mr. Norton. Mama will be there by now.
David, you're not an architect. You're a genius.
Hello, Mrs. Brown, please. Who? Oh, who am I? I'm Fritz. Yeah, I hold on. Somebody speaking Irish says what I do want to speak to Mrs. Brown about. What? Oh, it is Mrs. Norton's mother now.
Oh.
Just a minute, please. No, this is Fritz. I have a message to give you from Mr. Norton. A message from Mr. Norton.
Oh, Mama, I think something terrible has happened.
No, there hasn't been an accident. He is with Mrs. Norton in the bedroom and he can't come to the phone. No, the painter painted him in. Yeah, painted him in with a brush like painting.
Fritz, you're a genius. Tell her we can't come to dinner.
He says we can't come to dinner either. I mean, they can't come to dinner. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, goodbye. Oh, she was very excited. Then she was laughing. She said she doesn't doubt you bribed the painter to do this.
Mama's awfully understanding. But Aunt Louisa just lives to organize other people's lives.
Well, there's one thing Aunt Louisa can't organize, and that's wet paint.
This broadcast of Claudia was supervised and directed by William Brown Maloney. Let's see, what's needed to make Thursday's holiday complete? How about your supply of Coca-Cola? You'll want plenty of ice on that day of all days. You can have Dad pick up a case at the food store or service station when he's driving by. He's always glad to oblige when it's Coke you ask him to bring home. And the children are happy to see that case of refreshment and hospitality. Every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir, and remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be, when you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For ice-cold Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes.
I gotta tell you, there is nothing better than an ice-cold bottle of Coca-Cola in a glass bottle. Plastic bottles, cups, not so much. But I will take a glass bottle any day of the week. Claudia, as it was originally broadcast 76 years ago, November 26, 1947. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Crime and Westerns tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you then. Have yourself a great day, won't you please?